Hey guys, I wanted to make a video talking about the different kinds of bows that are on the market. Now, I'm only using one particular brand, and that's Hoyt. And that's just a personal preference thing. Um, when it comes to archery, it's always kind of a personal preference and a thing about how it feels. And so here, this is an older model. This is a Hoyt Double XL. And the reason why I have it set up like this, I have it set up kind of like a target bow, is because this one kind of fits the bill for me in terms of being able to be shot as a target bow and something I can also use to hunt with. The reason why it's sort of a decent hunting bow is because it's a parallel limb bow that shoots a lot faster than the traditional type of bow. Now, a more traditional type of target bow is something like this. You see kind of how it has like a D shape to it. That's kind of more the traditional type of target bow, and it's best suited for target shooting because of the geometry that the bow has. One being that it's longer axle to axle, and so this one's 37 inches axle to axle. Now, back in the day, this is before even I started archery, the regular hunting bow was about 37, almost 40 inches and stuff. But now they're much shorter. Now, so this is a bow that you would probably stick to using for target because of a lot of different things. First of all, the axle to axle length, the cam style. This is a much more aggressive cam that has a lower let off. And the lower let off means that there's more weight that you're holding on the back end. The reason why this is kind of a good bow for both is you can adjust the let off on this. You can go from 85 to I believe 75 with this, and I think I have it set at 80. Um, but yeah, so this bow you can kind of do both, and so you could have a more forgiving, higher let off, which means you're holding less weight. And usually, I am 85 to 80% let off is about 12 to 14 pounds that you're holding when you're having it full draw. With a higher let off, you're holding maybe 20 pounds. 15 and above, almost 20 pounds. This bow here is a 65% let off. Uh, and so you're going to be holding considerably more weight. 18, 20, 25 pounds, depends on how you set it up. And so the benefits to a higher let off is you're more relaxed at full draw. Let's say the animal decides to take its sweet time and not present its shot to you right away. Then you have time to hold it. You can kind of relax. With this guy here, there's no relaxing. There is, it wants to go. And the benefit to having a lower let off is a cleaner shot that breaks when the release finally goes off. That's if you're using uh, a hinge or you're shooting with back tension. And so that's the best type of release. That's the best type of let off. And I mean, again, this is totally subjective. This is based on what a person prefers. And some people can shoot low let off really well. Some people can shoot high let off really well. So this is an example of a bow that you can use for both target and for hunting. And I'll show you one more specific. Okay, so this bow here, I've got another one I'll show you. So this bow here, this would be specifically for hunting. Okay, and I got this recently. This is very much similar to the bow that I had that I used to shoot a deer this year. The axle to axle is shorter. I like the bows to be longer because I like a target type of feeling bow. To me, it's more stable. It's easier to shoot and can be much more accurate with it if I have to shoot longer distances. And I like to shoot longer distances, even with a hunting bow. And so But again, yeah, this is a personal preference thing. I know a guy, I think he was like a 30-inch draw, and he can shoot a 30-inch axle to axle bow just as good as a target bow. And so, again, yeah, personal preference things. But yeah, so this is a specific hunting bow. I mean, not to mean that you can't use it for target, but, you know, if you have something like this and you're going to shoot against people in a target tournament, then, you know, you want to compete with them in a better way. But if you can shoot this pretty good, then man, awesome. But it all comes down to what you can shoot, what you're more comfortable shooting. Now, the benefits to something like this for hunting, now again, this is a 33-inch axle to axle, and it's a little bit longer because the cams are a little taller. But yeah, the benefits to this is you can get into tighter spaces. There's a video I did not too long ago where I was showing that I was drawing the bow back when I was in the tree, and I was hunting out of a saddle, and I mean, it was tight. And so I drew the bow back to make sure I can shoot, and I actually couldn't shoot because there was some branches in the way, so I had to adjust how I sat in the saddle so I can take my shot. And I knew where the deer were going to come to. I knew exactly that they were going to walk into this one open space, and that's how I was set up to shoot. And sure enough, that's what happened. But I had to draw my bow back to make sure I can shoot without getting a tree limb getting caught in the cam and the strings. And so, yeah, a shorter axle to axle bow will permit you to get into some smaller, tighter, confined spaces. And so, yeah, you know, it's important to consider that. So imagine going in with something like this. Let me back up a little bit. Going in with something like this versus something like this. You see the big difference in the height. I mean, it doesn't look like much, but man, this adds up pretty quick. In a tree stand, in the tree with a bunch of branches. And so the shorter it is, the much better. Here, let me do it like this. That way you guys can see. Yeah, so you can see the difference. Now I'm holding them both against the floor. I haven't set this one up. I've been meaning to. I ordered a new sight, which I didn't really need to do that, but I got it anyways. And so I'm actually going to replace that one here, even though I didn't need to, but here we are. Anyways, so yeah, so you see the difference in the axle to axle. I got one more bow to show you. And so this one's a really cool one. I really like this one. I'm going to set it up to hunt with also, and just to play with actually. This is an older bow. This is an Axius Ultra with turbo cams, and it's pretty awesome. But you see, I mean, it's a little bit taller. This is a longer axle to axle bow. It's a 34-inch. This is a 33-inch axle to axle. And you can see the way it's measured from the limb, where the axle is, to the other axle. Let's see if I can get it so you can see it right. So you see the axle is about an inch taller, but you know, it's interesting because these cams are so much bigger, it takes up more space, so it's almost the same height. But yeah, you know, something to consider when you're in a hunting scenario. When you're target shooting, I mean, you're good to go. It's wide open. You have plenty of room. You know, some of the bows get even bigger. They're 40 inches axle to axle, and those are even more stable. And the reason, part of the reason is the string angle, the way it comes to your face. With a shorter axle to axle bow, the string angle is much sharper, as opposed to a target bow. It's much more, much wider. And so the string actually comes closer to your eye, which is easier for aiming. But yeah, again, subjective. You know, some guys, like I told you, I knew one guy. I mean, he's a 30-inch draw, and he's able to shoot a 30-inch axle to axle bow. I mean, like a beast. But yeah, anywho, so that's it. That's what I wanted to talk about. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll put out some more content. See ya.